Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Olivia and this is my channel where I love to talk about all things nail polish. I have been so excited to film this video for a while now. This is, okay, so let's kind of take it back to where this all started. I love black flakes as a topper. In particular, my favorite that I've always gushed about on this channel is Mascara flakes from Crack Polish. And for me, adding black flakes over something like a cream polish, a crelly, a jelly, something that is more on the simple side, can be such an easy and effective way to zhuzh up your manicure and give it a little bit more visual texture, but without the physical texture that comes along with it. I mean, I wear mascara flakes as a topper so often that whenever I go to my husband, I'm like, look at my nails. And by the way, I really do say it in that creepy voice. He's like, oh, wow, you're using mascara flakes again today. Cool. So I use it so often that he knows it by name. Now, fast forward to, I think a little over a month ago, a few indie makers were announcing that they were noticing that there was appearing to be a shortage in the availability of black flakes that they could get from suppliers. And because of that, they were notifying their customers like, hey, we know we've been using black flakes pretty frequently in our polishes, but the supply is seeming to run out. So just giving you all a heads up that this might be the last collection for now that we're able to make that uses them. What this has done is that it's made it so that even people who up until now were never really on the black flake train were like, wait, these aren't going to be available anymore, so should I get some? Am I going to miss out? There's been this big rush of it. And that led me to wanting to see which other makers out there had black flake toppers, so that as you all know on this channel, I love doing comparisons. I love doing reviews, and I noticed that there was no one on YouTube, at least not that I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen a video like the one that I've decided to film today, which is doing a comparison of black flake toppers across multiple brands. And I told myself if I was going to do this, I wanted to do it big. Now, in case you missed it, and I'll put a link to this in the description, I did a video, again, maybe about a month ago or so, where I compared Crack Polish's mascara flakes to Holo Taco's black flake taco. But then I was like, I want to do more. So y'all, we've got 8 black flake toppers that I'm going to be swatching and comparing today. 8. And that is why I haven't been able to do it until now, because, when you've got 8 different polishes that you need to source, it can take some time to receive those orders from different brands that understandably all have different like processing and shipping times. But we've got 8 today. I'm so excited. So the way that I'm going to structure this is that I'm going to swatch them out, and to give you some insight into the kinds of things that I'm looking for. Often when I talk about this kind of conversation often comes up when I'm talking about magnetic polishes and the idea of the amount of magnetic disbursement that you may or may not want to see in your manicure. I always try to be very intentional and cognizant in saying that there is no single best way that a particular polish can look, because what for me is considered optimal may be quite the opposite from what some of you prefer. And I'm saying this because I think it's going to be the exact same way when we're looking at these swatches, that I'm just saying now to kind of ground myself in this. I'm trying to be very intentional to not say like, oh, this one is the best one or the worst one, because you know, what I prefer in things like flake size, flake density may be quite different from what you all are looking for when you are shopping around for a black flake topper. So just putting that out there. So yeah, those are some of the things I'm going to be looking for. So flake size, like, are they teeny tiny? Like, does it look like we've got pepper on the nail, all the way up to like, are these some big chunky flakes? That's one thing, flake size. Also want to look at flake density, meaning how jam-packed in are they versus how spread out are they. That's another thing where people can have vastly different preferences, and I want to ensure that you all can use this video as a way of if you are shopping around for a black flake topper, instead of needing to go to like, multiple different websites and trying to do a head-to-head comparison somehow there, that's what you can use this video for. And I think the last thing I want to mention before I move over to my nail desk and get started is that for each of these polishes, these toppers, I'm going to be swatching. I'm going to, as I'm doing this, I'm going to, on my iPad in the background, I'm going to pull up the product listing on their website to see if it's the case that as of today, wait, today's April 7th? Ooh, okay. As of, I don't know what day I thought it was. I don't think I thought it was April 7th, but yeah, so as of today, April 7th, is that particular polish in stock. And I'll also specify if it's not in stock, I'll share if the maker's website mentions anything like, often you can sign up for restock notifications. If it's the case that a maker has indicated that, if it's out of stock, it's out of stock for good. I'll share those details so that you all can have that available to you. And last thing, because my t-shirt is really cute today. So in celebration of the moon in Artemis, by the way, I don't know, I don't think I've mentioned this, but I you know how people talk about their special interests and stuff like that? The moon is one of mine. You probably never seen this because my shoulder's always blocking it, but I actually have a moon like right there. I have like a not stuffed animal because the moon isn't an animal, but like I have a stuffed moon. I have other moons and stuff too. So I might do a video someday about like moon inspired moonicures. Okay, adding that to my list. Anyway, so I have this shirt here. My husband, Jack, picked this out for me because he saw it and thought of me for a number of reasons. One of which is that it's the moon, but then it's also kind of creepy because it says, "The moon made me do it." So yeah, if any of you would be interested in a moonicures video, let me know. So yeah, this has been a pretty long intro, but I wanted to just kind of establish some things up front so that we can yeah, all right, let's get into it. As we're getting started, as always, I want to begin by showing you what's on my nails. So yeah, on my t-shirt today, it's a bit of light blue, and so I spent some time going back and forth and thinking like, what exactly do I want to wear today? And so I started with 2 coats of Blank Beauty's Nautical Nonsense, which if you go to buy this now, it's actually been renamed to Pool Boy, but excellent like sky blue cream polish. And then on top of that, I use Bee's Knees Lacquer Never Trust the Living. This is one that I want to say that even if I were to build this up in like on its own in like 3 coats, it still wouldn't give you full opacity. And so that's why I decided, hey, let me just do 2 coats of a matching cream so you can see just how close those 2 are together. And basically I use the Bee's Knees one as a topper. That's a pro tip I'll share because it also allows me to prolong the life of this polish. And if I'm only using a single coat of it each time I use it, but I can still get the overall look that I want. So I did that and I felt like something was still missing. And y'all know me, I never hesitate to put glitter, sparkle on something, but I just wasn't feeling that. So then I realized, aha, I know what it is. Now, if you take a look at this and see, it already has a little bit of a blue shimmer in it. That was not enough shimmer for me. So I I went and put on a coat of a blue shimmer topper, Fancy Gloss's Let It Glow Blue. And that is how you get this just really glowy blue. So yeah, that is what's on my nails today. Okay, first up is, okay, this is, sorry. I'm just laughing because normally when I pull polishes over here, I get excited because I can see in the bottle. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this. But so, okay, this is Alchemy, because it's black flakes. It's just, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Alchemy Lacquers Midnight. Now, something else I want to mention about logistics that I forgot to mention was that aside from Cracks Mascara Flakes and Holo Taco's Black Flake Taco, I have not swatched out any of these. I want this to be a surprise for all of us, including me. Now, you know, obviously when I went to the product listing pages for these, I had to see a picture to, you know, confirm that it was what I wanted. But I feel like for most of these, it was so long ago that my mind just moves, you know, a mile a minute. So I don't even remember what these look like. But because of that, I just realized if I were to like go to the website now to look up availability, like as I'm doing this or before I'm doing this, whatever, it would kind of ruin the surprise for me. So what I'm going to do, editing Olivia, is going to have like an overlay with the details as to what the availability, current availability is as of today, April 7th. So, all right, Alchemy Lacquers Midnight. And I've swatched out 8 swatches here using cracked polishes, crinkled linens. And yeah, I've got labels here to keep us on track. So let's begin with Alchemy. Now, to be fair, for each of these, I'm just going to like dip into the bottle, do a single swipe, and this way we're on an even playing field for all of these. Okay, I'm so sorry for like, you know, thinking of all these final logistics, but you know, I've never done this comparison before, so here we go. Alchemy Lacquer Midnight. Now, what I will do once I have the brush on here for each of these will be to use the brush to smooth it out somewhat and just give as much of like even coverage as I can. But I'm like, if it ends up being the case that say the coverage is a little bit sparse, I'm not gonna like double dip or anything like that. So for this one, I would say that the overall flake size is on the smaller side, and also there do appear to be some like slightly larger pieces that are in there scattered about. But yeah, when it comes to flake density, I think that this seems to be a little bit on the more dense side. You know, just thinking about the fact that like I did literally one swipe of this and, you know, one brush dip. So, you know, I won't know until I edit if these are still available from the maker's website. But, you know, you can also look in D-stashes and see what's available there. But yeah, this is Alchemy Lacquers Midnight. Next is from Cirque Colors, we have Spotted. And I will say that this is one that I picked up in a D-stash. So I want to give the disclaimer that as with anything that you get in a D-stash, you oh, how would I say this? Like, you don't know necessarily how much thinner the original owner may or may not have put in there. So what I'll do is, you know, swatch this out And then also, once I've done that, I can put a picture in the corner to show the photo, the official photo from the Cirque website, to show the comparison there if there do happen to be any discrepancies. So let me give this one a little bit of a shake. I know when I got it, I needed to shake it up a bit because there was a lot of, when I got it, I noticed that the flakes were kind of sticking to the bottom. But I have like put it on my vortex mixer earlier, but just want to double check that. Okay, Cirque colors spotted. All right, so for one thing, it's going to be different with application here, because right away I can say that this bottle is using a much skinnier brush compared to what was on the Alchemy Lacquers one. Now, I know that when nowadays when I get polishes from Cirque, let me just double check real quick. Here's another one I have, Nectar. This one is, I just did my nails, so I don't want to smudge them, but yeah, this one has a paddle brush. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the numbers on the bottom might have to do with the, the batch number. So I'm thinking maybe 25 for that one was that one was made in 2025. I've got another Cirque here that's also a 25. And this one, I believe the bottom said 21. Yeah. So again, just want to, be very transparent about this, that this was apparently from 2021, most likely. And also I got it in a D-stash, but like I said, I'm going to put a picture from the Cirque website up there. So, all right. With all that being said, let's do some comparisons here. I think having these two side by side like this is like night and day in some ways. And if during my intro you were kind of unclear as what I meant when I was referring to the concept of flake density, this is exactly it. So keeping in mind that I just did a single swipe, a single brush swipe for both of these. And this is where I know some people would prefer the density that you've got on the Alchemy side, and others may prefer what you have on the Cirque side. In the Cracked and Hollow Taco video that I'll link in the description, if you haven't seen that one already, there is one part in there where I demonstrate an example of how to change up your brush application style if it's the case that you are finding that you have a black flake or any kind of flake topper that is more flake dense than you wanted. So it's, depending on the flake size and density, I'm not guaranteeing that you can take something like the Alchemy Lacquer one and get the Cirque result, but do check that out. That is a strategy I use often myself when I'm trying to get the most out of a polish that may end up a little bit different than what I was anticipating. Okay, next. I'm trying not to be biased or in showing my love for these polishes, but here she is, Crack Polish Mascara Flakes, the one that started it all for me. So here we go. And this one is a relatively new-ish bottle for me. You can kind of see the fill line down there. So I know I talk about how often I use Mascara Flakes. I think this is my second bottle of it. So it is, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna load up that brush and be very fair with this comparison. Okay. Okay, so I think that in terms of density, it's more dense than the Cirque, but less dense than Alchemy. And also the flake sizes are, the Alchemy one over here, if you see on the right and along the top there are some flakes there that do seem to be on the larger side. So I think that I would say the cracked is both on a lower density and smaller flake size, but not to the, you know, what we have so far with the lowest density in the Cirque with spotted. But yeah, hopefully you can see why I really am drawn to mascara flakes as a topper. It is, for me, I love this balance between having variety in flake size, but also, you know, when you think about, well, why is it that flake density matters? And it all depends on the kind of look that you're going for, because I know there's some people who, when they're wearing a flake topper, their priority is on seeing as much as possible of the flakes. And so when you have something that's this packed, that's, you know, kind of their aim. But in other cases, if you want to see flakes, but then you also still want to see you know, at least a decent amount of like the polish that you have underneath it, that's where you would want to go for a lower density flake polish like these two here. So again, that was mascara flakes. Okay, next, I actually have two from Fancy Gloss. The first one from Fancy Gloss is called Crushed Onyx. I remember when I was on their website, there was one that's like more of what you would consider your typical black flake topper like these. And I think it's the one after this that has, it's black flakes, but some of them are a little bit bigger. So we'll see which one this is. So this is, I forgot the name already. Sorry, y'all. Crushed Onyx. There we go. All right. Okay, this one, okay, it looks like if I had gone in with multiple coats of mascara flakes. It is slightly less dense than the Alchemy, and I, you know, to the point that I was making about, you know, the question of, to what extent do you still want to see the polish that's underneath? I think that Crushed Onyx would still allow you to see that, but you push it further than this and you're getting into the Alchemy territory of having the balance be pushed more on the flake dominant side. I think that there's some really good distribution of the flake sizes here. You know, the first reaction that I got when I swiped this out was, this looks like TV static in a really good way. Like, I know there's like this one Monarch Lacquer, I think, polish that a lot of people have been talking about recently, that was a limited edition that they missed out on, called Pandemonium. I'll put a picture of it up there, but yeah, it's called Pandemonium, so kind of like panda the animal, but I looked at that and thought, wow, this is very TV staticky, but I see that a lot in this one as well. And I think if you are going for that kind of manicure, like a TV static one, this is perfect for that. So yeah, this is Crushed Onyx. Let's go on to the next one from Fancy Gloss, which is Black Shards. Okay, that is all that came out on the one. You know, I want to be fair and even with this, so I okay, let me see what I want to do here. Okay, so I just swatched out a single stick with crinkled linens on it, because I do want to demonstrate how this looks when I do multiple swipes of it. I just didn't want to do that on this swatch wheel, because like I said in the beginning with logistics for this, I want this to be a very direct head-to-head comparison, and if I went back in for multiple coats here, that wouldn't give you an accurate comparison. Okay, I was a little surprised when, you know, this is what came out, but I kind of dig this. I like this for kind of like a, ooh, I could do like a Jackson Pollock or a Basquiat inspired manicure. I do love the abstract nature of these pieces here and the distribution. Like, again, the more I look at this, the more I love this. Like, it is so different from everything else. So okay, now I'm curious to see how's this gonna look if I'm gonna do a couple things. First, I'm gonna like turn this upside down a little bit to, you know, sometimes when you're working with a polish, like you gotta have to give the polish a little bit of help to move around. So okay, let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, yes, so that did make a difference there. And see, that is why I wanted to, you know, I haven't needed to do that for any of the other polishes thus far, so I didn't realize I was gonna have to need to do it for this one, but I feel like this is a more accurate sorry, I was about to say representation, there we go, of black shards. So yeah, this if I go and compare this to the others instead, I feel like that is going to be, yeah, so you can see the difference here, right? What's going on here in black shards, for one thing, we have they're far more angular, geometric, far more irregularly shaped. It kind of reminds me of like when you're working on an art project or something, and when you're a kid and you were just like cutting up tiny pieces of paper and like folding it and just cutting it until you had so many little like scraps of shapes and stuff. That's what this reminds me of in a really good way. I like this a lot. Like I could totally see myself combining this with some neons to maybe have like a 90s inspired manicure. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm still gonna let this one stand for now because I do want to. This was a good teachable moment even for myself, that you know, if it is the case that with black shards or any of these, really, if you're not getting the flake payoff that you're looking for, doing that trick of like turning the bottle upside down a bit will most likely do that. For the others here, I'm not going to automatically do that because I'm, you know, just for science consistency, whatever. But if for any of these other ones, if it is the case that also we're running into that issue, I'll do the same thing where I'll pull out a separate swatch stick and we'll do that. So since I have used this Holo Taco Black Flake Taco one, I know what I'm expecting here, and I can tell you I'm not going to have any issue with getting full coverage or adequate coverage here. So here is Black Flake Taco. And there's a lot going on here. You know, another thing that I feel I just realized is that, let's say for any of these that are currently out of stock, what can be helpful here is to see which ones are most similar, so that if, let's say, like if you know, because I'm seeing that like the crushed onyx looks very similar to the Holo Taco. Let's say if one of these were out of stock, you could check the other to see like, oh, okay, this one is close enough. Looking at Black Flake Taco compared to the others, Alchemy is still holding strong as our most dense one, and I think that Fancy Gloss is coming in second place with density, with Holo Taco very closely behind that. Yeah, The Holo Taco one does have some slightly bigger flakes mixed in there compared to the crushed Onyx, maybe, but you know, it's I do think that if you are looking for something that is pushing it towards the line of TV static, the One Flake Taco could be a really good choice for that. Okay, we got 2 more to go. I'm having so much fun with this. Okay, next is Rogue Lacquer Batsy. Okay, let's see how Batsy is. Ooh, okay. So, Batsy and Alchemy Lacquers Midnight are pretty much twins. If I zoom out a bit here, you can see what I'm saying about like Alchemy over here, Rogue Lacquer over there, just very similar in terms of their density. Now, if I take a closer look up here, yeah, this is where I think, you know, this is the kind of black flake topper to use if you are leaning more towards wanting to emphasize the black flakes within your manicure. Whereas compared to Holo Taco, right next to it, you're seeing more of the underlying polish and then putting in the fancy gloss black shards, also giving you more space to see what's underneath. But yeah, for all of these, I think the formulas are very smooth. Even with black shards, I mean, for black shards, I would definitely use a glitter smoother over this, but I'm not seeing anything stick up to the point where I feel like I would be poking myself or anything like that. So yeah, so that is Batsy. And our final one is from Tyler's Trinkets called, okay, this is probably my favorite name of all of them. This is There's a Little Witch in All of Us. Indeed there is. Okay. So let's see how this one looks. And I'm so glad I decided to like surprise myself with these because it makes it more fun for me not knowing what to expect. Aha. Okay. I think, yeah, definitely lighter flake density compared to Batsy from Rogue Lacquer. I think that panning out a bit, the Tyler's Trinkets density is what I would put in between Mascara Flakes from Cracked and Fancy Glosses Crushed Onyx. So like if you're looking at these two and you're wishing that you had something that was like right there in the middle with flake density, that's where Tyler's Trinkets comes in. Yeah, this is an excellent one with some, you know, overall really good balance of different flake sizes. It's not the case where I'm seeing anything where there's something that's like too patchy or anything like that. Yeah, so let me pan out a bit here. Okay, and here are our here's the final look at all of these. Wow, I don't know what I was expecting from the results here, but you can see that there is quite a difference in how these various makers have chosen to, actually, let me be fair and put the Fancy Gloss one in here. There we go. Okay. You can see that there is a difference in how these various these makers have decided to interpret their version of a black flake topper. Some of you may be wondering, Olivia, did you find one that you like more than Mascara Flakes? I think that, you know, I do, you know, seeing that Tyler's Trinkets is like just a little bit more densely packed than cracked, that would probably be my second choice there. And, you know, since let me go ahead and use the bottom of this. You know, for some of these that are a little bit more on the dense side, how do I want to do this? Let's see. Let's do that. Okay. What I want to do is use the strategy that I was mentioning in my other video from Holo Taco about how to go about applying toppers that are, you know, how do you do it when you have a very densely packed topper, but you still want to get some use out of it in a less densely packed way. So I think the ones that I'm gonna do this for would be the Alchemy and the Rogue Lacquer, to see if we can, you know, I'll do it for the Fancy Gloss Crushed Onyx too. So I'm gonna finish setting this up. I'm gonna go off camera for a bit and then I'll be back. All right, I'm back with these newly labeled swatches down here. I want to see, like, let's say you purchase one of these black flake toppers that ended up being more densely packed than you were hoping for, and you want something that has a more sparse look. So what I want to show you is like the polish application technique that I use for times like this. So we're starting with the Alchemy Lacquer Midnight, which looks like this, just, you know, taking the brush out of the bottle, swiping it up. The way that I like to do this is to, so I take the brush out. As always, I kind of like, I brush off whatever is on the back of it. And then what I'll do is do almost like a dry brushing kind of technique. So I'll put on a little pool of the polish there. I'll brush off some more of it in the neck of the bottle, and then with the little bit that got on there that I put onto the nail, I will then spread that out. And you'll know that you're doing it correctly, or at least the way that I do it, if it starts to feel really dry by the time that you get to like the spreading it all out. So yeah, and I think once you put top coat on this, it'll smooth out any kind of like slight smearing that you might see. So if we compare this first version to the second version, hopefully you can see the difference there and how you're able to use that exact same polish, but if you're looking for a more spread out look, it's totally possible. It just can take some practice to refine your application technique for that. So let's try this out with Fancy Gloss's Crushed Onyx next. So yeah, Crushed Onyx. And then, so to remind ourselves, Crushed Onyx looks like this. So not as densely packed as Midnight, but let's say same situation. You're wanting to make this a little bit more sparse. So just like before, I'm gonna take out my brush, swipe the back of it, and then put a tiny pool of polish there. That is really all that you need. Then make sure to brush the remainder off on the neck there, because otherwise it's all gonna stay on your brush and you don't want that. And then just dryly brush it out. Ta-da! So this one, it might be, you might, because I probably didn't let the white polish dry for as long as I should have. That's why like some of these glitters are looking a little bit more on the gray side. But if we just focus on the comparison here, this was the before and that is our after. So, and when you do this enough, you can get it to be where, regardless of how dense that polish is straight out of the bottle, you are the one who controls how many flakes get on your nail. And you know, it's looking very similar to mascara flakes almost at this point. So let me see if I can use the Rogue Lacquer one as an opportunity to like really strip this back even more. So this is going to be a challenge because the Rogue Lacquer one, if we recall, started like this, and I want to go very small with this. So, and I have not tried this out with this one, so or any of these really. So I am, this is going to be a genuine attempt here. So taking my brush out, brushing the back of it. I'm doing the tiniest of that. Yeah, and then brush off the rest of it on the neck. Whew, here we go. And you know, because this is a black flake topper, keep in mind that there's still going to be polish in that brush that you cannot see. Okay. Ooh, this was challenging. I think I did it. I mean, it's not the most, like, it's not as scattered as I was hoping to get it, but if we compare where we started to where we finish, let me adjust the focus here. Okay, so where we started here and the end result if we want to do a different technique. So I just wanted to take a moment to share that technique with you all. You know, if it is the case that you have something that is more densely packed than you wanted, it's all about switching up your technique. Another thing that you could do too, if you want to, like, if you're into polish making and you have some polish making supplies, you can take some, you know, clear suspension base and put just a little bit of this polish in there. And you're basically using the polish that you bought in that bottle as like a concentrated version of it. What you could also do too, I think, if you have like, I know that this should work if you have like a clear nail polish and add in the flakes there and mix that up. I've heard of some people doing this with top coat as well. I haven't tried that myself, so I can't say you know, to what extent that may or may not work, but just do know that you have options. So yeah, let's go ahead and get wrapped up. Yeah, this was a really interesting experiment here. You know, it's so fascinating how you can have this one concept of a black flake topper that can be expressed so differently across various brands. So I really hope that this was helpful for any of you who have been looking for a black flake topper and may not have yet decided which one would be the best one for your particular preferences and needs. I also hope that these 3 swatches at the bottom were helpful too, to give you a strategy for how to make the most out of flake dense polish. Words are hard right now. Or how to make the most out of a topper that is more densely packed with flakes than you were anticipating, and to still be able to use it in a way that gives you the overall look that you're hoping for. You know, so what's up next, or what do I have coming up in my list of videos? You know, so I recently posted a video about, it was reviewing Crack Polish's neutralizer, and you know, thank you all so much for the comments, especially those of you who said that you would love to see comparisons between neutralizer and other similar products. So guess what? I bought, I think, 3 other products that fall into that category. So we're gonna have another review comparison series. Woo! You know, in this case with the black flakes, it made more sense for me to do like, you know, there's only so much you can talk about when it comes to like a single topper, but for something like neutralizer or like a product that is used to neutralize the look of yellow stained nails, and that can also potentially be used as a blurring base coat. As if you saw the video on neutralizer, you understand what I mean about how I do want to be more thorough with each of those individually before then putting them head to head. I'll also put a link to that one in the description in case you want to watch that. So if you want to make sure to see those videos as they come out, I invite you to subscribe. I post videos a couple times a week on things like nail polish comparisons. You know, I really like I was talking with some of my new coworkers the other day about this channel and why I started it, and I said something to the effect of like, part of why I created this was that I wanted to create the kind of videos that I wanted to watch, but that I wasn't already seeing out there. So I truly do hope that my content is resonating with so many of you, and that I can continue to provide you with these types of insights to help you make more informed decisions about your nail polish purchases. So yeah, I am with this, I think that is all for now. And in case any of you were wondering, I absolutely will be getting a lot of use out of every single one of these black flake toppers, even if it's the case that like I'm gonna use the other technique there. As much as I use black flakes, don't worry about me. I've got enough to last for a long time. So thank you all again so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.